Ladies and gentlemen, it is I, Morgannin, once again on behalf of World of Piranha here today to bring you a small wrap-up on the information we received from the Gamescom demo for Elex. Naturally, a lot of this information was made available in German, so German-speaking audiences might already know most of this information, but we have done our best to compile it for everybody, and that's what you're here to listen to today. So let's begin right away with the setting and the story. So the game Elex is set on a world called Morgannin. Some in the press have referred to it as Magellan, which is apparently a misnomer. Jenny insisted that it is in fact spelled with an A and called Morgannin. The apocalypse in this world was caused by a comet strike which brought the unique element Elex with it. The world was apparently very modern when the disaster struck, and relics such as cars, highways, broken down buildings, industries, power lines, all these remain in the world. But the survivors evolved their communities in several different ways, which we will discuss in the faction section. And they all evolved with different technologies, and there is a clear disparity between the general appearances of each community. Some look very alien and sci-fi, while others look straight out of the 11th century or thereabouts. The environments in the game are supposed to be anywhere from icy to desert to forests, swamps, volcanic, so there will be quite a variety of different biomes, as it were, to explore in this game. The hero that we will play as is a former commander of the paramilitary group known as the Albs, and this hero was apparently addicted to the substance Elex, using it as a narcotic of sorts. He is not going to be nameless, and he's not going to be without a history in this game, and he is possibly even famous or infamous in the world, and this will probably lead to a great conflict as he tries to work with the other factions. The game begins with him being shot down in his glider, and barely surviving. He crawls from the wreckage, and as time goes on, his mind, once clouded by his addiction to Elex, begins to return to a more humanized state. So that's just a general introduction to the setting. Now, as far as the gameplay goes, there will be a greater emphasis on vertical exploration this time around, not just by climbing, but apparently by a jetpack item that will be available to the players pretty early in the game. Piranha has stated that the form that they presented it in the Gamescom demo will not be the final version, and that it's still a work in progress, so it's hard to really say what we can expect from it. The game is estimated to take at least 70 hours to complete. This might not include side quests, they didn't really specify. The combat is completely built from scratch, mixing melee and ranged weapons. Elex is a unique and versatile substance. Some use it to reinforce weapons, others as a mind-altering narcotic drug, or others use it in a refined form to induce new abilities. The moral choices in this game, hinted at early on, are not actually meant to be black and white like most moral choices in these types of games, but instead are meant for the player to find the best possible outcome, even if it's not easy or merciful. The disparity between the decisions are referred to as being more cold or more human. The disaster and the Elex substance have caused mutations in the wildlife, creating grotesque monstrosities that will, of course, try to oppose your efforts throughout the game world. Areas may be restricted by massive war machines used by the Alb faction that will try to shoot you down if you try to get past them via the jetpack or any other means. Much of the story will be told through exploration as opposed to everything coming from NPC dialogue or just from books and letters and that kind of thing. Exploration and investigation will reveal more of the main character's backstory as you go along, and the pre-release information seems to imply that his Elex addiction actually caused some kind of memory loss, and that finding out what he's done in the past may be critical to the story development. Reinhard Paulus, the PR rep of Nordic Games, insisted that the game is being designed with a more tactical and challenging combat system without the confusing camera movement of the previous Risen games. The heads-up display is not meant to be intrusive, and the menu interfaces will be all in real time, projected in front of the player, with an example given of the Dead Space heads-up display. And stamina is supposed to be a resource that will deplete with actions such as blocking, very similar to Gothic 3. So now moving on to the factions. All four factions are effectively opposed to each other due to different ideals, implying greater conflict and division of interest than all of the previous game's factions, which more or less kind of tolerated each other in the Gothic games and in the Risen games, but apparently there is effectively a four-way civil war going on in this game. The Albs are the paramilitary group mentioned earlier with highly advanced technology, and they're all addicted to Elex as a drug, which renders them fairly emotionless and fairly stoic. Rejoining the Owls will not be possible, according to Jenny of Piranha, as they do not forgive your failure in the opening of the game. The name Albs is not fully understood, but some have speculated that it might be slang to mean albino, which is a side effect of Elex dependency, that your skin begins to turn pale. Their motivation in the world is effectively to enslave everyone through Elex dependency, make everyone addicted to it, which they believe will remove everyone's emotion as a foil to logic and reason. They are essentially trying to create what they believe is the perfect world, just completely devoid of human emotion and bias. The Cleric faction renounce the consumption of Elex as a drug, but they do enhance their technology with it to support their crusade. They seem to be rigidly religious and seek to rule the world as some sort of benevolent but ruthless tyrant, sort of a for your own good kind of ideology. The Berserkers are a melee-focused class, but have refined Elex to give them magical abilities, referring to this refined form of Elex as mana, which allows them to fight back even after renouncing technology to attune themselves with nature. They could possibly be viewed similarly to the Jedi in Star Wars in the way they fight, but probably not as just or beneficent in their motivations. The Bandit faction are an anarchist group who renounce all leadership and resort to stealing Elex and technology for their own gains. Their weaponry seems to be very ramshackle, built from spare parts, such as chainswords and harpoon guns, and they seem to run a black market in a desert location in the game world. Now, what we know about weapons and magic in this game: one- and two-handed weapons are confirmed, shields appear to be present as well, and guns exist in various forms. Anything from just regular metal projectiles to plasma-powered weaponry. And some melee weapons seem to be enhanced with machinery or reinforced with Elex. Magic has not really been elaborated on as of yet, but it will be fueled as Elex, as said before, in a refined form known as mana. Many weapons, armor, and abilities will not be available to the player depending on which faction they join. There will be many of these that are faction exclusive and only available to higher ranks in these guilds. Armor will not be a single item in this game, but will involve multiple pieces like it did in Risen 2 and 3 and many other RPGs. So that's what little we got out of Elex, and some may be asking why haven't we gotten more information. Well, although there was implied to be a video demonstration at Gamescom, the demo was in fact a very closed demo with only a few PR reps from other publications, and this was out of Piranha Bytes' fear that the community would actually interpret their work in progress as a finished product, and that's what they were hoping to avoid. They didn't want people being sort of biased by the unfinished pre-alpha build that was on demonstration here. Piranha Bytes insists that they will be more transparent with the community once they are confident in the appearance of the game and the final direction, and many ideas have not been finished and they are subject to change at any given moment. So some may be asking also why they are not developing another Gothic game, and this has been the question pretty much since the days of Risen's development. And Bjorn has responded to those comments, saying that if he asked 5 different people what they loved about Gothic, he would get 5 different answers. And that's fair enough. Everyone seems to have their own opinion on what made Gothic perfect and what they would want out of a Gothic sequel. So Bjorn said that everyone wants something different out of a future Gothic sequel and that he can't simply satisfy enough of them. Instead, he insisted on applying the same commitment to the atmosphere but in a totally new setting. They are not making a new Gothic because, quote, we want to make Elex. And that is it, ladies and gentlemen. That is as much as we got out of this Gamescom demo. Many of you were probably hoping for a bit more, but with a year and a half still to go in the development of this game, there's simply a lot of work to be done, and I can understand why a lot of it simply is not ready to be shown yet. So I hope you all enjoyed this video. If you did, make sure you like, comment, subscribe, whatever you want to do, and join us in our discussions on the official forums as well as the World of Elex forums and the World of Piranha Bytes Facebook page. So hopefully I'll see you all around soon, and have a wonderful day.